Everybody better run for your life. Kill free with a butcher knife.
Hello, I'm Tim Hellman.
And I'm Hunter OGuinn.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the movie VHS 2. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself first?
Sure. I've been an indie filmmaker, more of a jack of all trades for the last 10 years. A little bit of everything. Acting, writing, directing, makeup.
All here in Oregon?
Yep, all here in Oregon.
We worked on a film together, Violent Venus. He was the co-director and I did a little camera work on it.
Co-director and co-writer.
And you can watch it on YouTube. So VHS 2 is a sequel to the 2012 indie hit anthology horror film about a house containing a collection of tapes, all telling their own grisly tale of murder and mayhem. This one is told in the same found footage style and is directed and written by several of the same filmmakers as the first film, as well as ABCs of Death, which was another anthology horror film from earlier this year. And it also features short films directed by Eduardo Sanchez, who co-directed and co-wrote the original Blair Witch Project, as well as Jason Eisner, who wrote and directed Hobo with a Shotgun. It features 5 stories instead of 6, like the original. So I think there were 7 directors in all. So what'd you think?
I honestly thought it was amazing, and I had no prior experience to it.
You hadn't seen the original?
Hadn't seen the original, so it was a brand new opening for me, and I was riveted all the way through.
Yeah.
Every short story had quite a punch packed in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't have to see the original to see this one. I mean,
it's a standalone.
It's set in the same house with the VHS setup, but it's basically the same story almost.
They had one base story starting out, and they dragged it out by interlacing the other stories in between, and these were the videos that this first character is watching. And yeah, grisly tales. Some were very much on the edge of your seat, like riveting, like you were kind of nail biting. There was one in there that was hilarious.
It's a zombie short film told from the zombie's point of view, all the way from becoming a zombie till his death, which I don't
Spoiler!
I won't say how he dies, but I don't think that's ever been done before, though.
No, I've only seen it done. I've only seen it done as an audio story before. And I think in one of the Resident Evil video games, there's a journal entry you can read that's very much similar, where he's writing his entries and you're seeing his slow degradation into the undead.
Okay. And I was saying also Warm Bodies is kind of like that, but it doesn't start out with him turning into a zombie, and it also doesn't show his demise either. So
it's kind of the 180 of that.
And also it's a little lighter, more comedic tale than this.
Right,
this was pretty dark and violent.
It's a rom-com zombie. This is just like horror, with a little taste of comedy. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this about all the films was there was like maybe one scene that had CGI, very little like special effects, and everything was practical effects. Just like actual squibs with the gore, with just awesome camera editing.
Actors in creature costumes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, full body costumes, which are pretty legit. I mean, they look good.
And the death scenes looked real, like the neck getting slit was pretty real.
That was probably the most realistic neck slit I have ever seen in cinema, I've got to say. It's a full-on profile, you don't see, like, whoever did the makeup on that, good feathering, good feathering.
The first one has a great neck slit scene too, that's become one of their classic death scenes, I guess.
Right, it's like, no, we're really good at this. We should really just show this skill off right now.
I don't remember anything that I thought looked bad, really.
And the acting was superb on everyone.
For a low-budget movie like this, yeah. This had great sound effects, I thought, and the music was creepy.
They all start out as a classic found footage, so you're starting out with a real, like, oh, this is a real-life incident, everything's very normal, and that's what, and then, like, you just slowly... Or a quick fall into the rabbit hole with them. It's really well done.
And you said you're not a big fan of the fan footage style. I am, although there's a lot of bad ones too. But
exactly, I think I've just seen
great ones too.
I think I've been jaded too much. Seen too many found footage films that are just like crud. And so, but this one was a delight. Like, I was elated after this. Like, as soon as we were done watching, I'm like, oh man, blah 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 blah. They did really good. We should do this interview now because I am in the zone. This is a great film.
Well, this and the first VHS are two of my very favorite fan footage horror films.
Being a makeup effects artist, I truly enjoy horror films for the practicality of seeing the special effects and the gore and the blood and see how they do it. And these guys were marvelous.
It's a great genre for being creative on a low budget, I think.
Really, yeah,
it's the best for a low budget.
It's like if you don't have the money, if you don't have the right equipment, if you just like have your grandma's old cassette recorder, you can still make a quality film if you're creative enough. Keep thinking, think outside the box.
Especially in the horror genre, I think that's why I think so many great directors start out in horror.
Well, it's because if you're a director and for any film you want to elicit an emotional response from your audience, and almost all directors start in horror because it's easier to get a fright out of your audience than it is to make someone feel love or to it's that empathy, and most people can relate to being afraid because everyone's afraid of something.
And it's almost a guaranteed profit-making genre.
Right, because if it's low-budget horror...
That's the way to get ahead in the showbiz if you want to...
That's what I'm doing wrong!
What rating would you give it?
I honestly give this a 5. Like
really 5?
Really, I do. Like
I give it 4.5, but like the first one I did too. But I thought this one was a little bit better. Than the first
I could agree with a 4.5
compared to other horror movies. I'd give it a 5, but and the fan footage. But compared to films in general, I'd give it a 4.5.
So 4.5, I think is the we're agreeing on that. Yeah, I'm gonna lower it down a little because like there were little elements, but I haven't had that much enjoyment in a horror film in a long time.
Well, I just did with World War Z today, but this has a lot of zombies in it too.
Even there's one story that didn't seem like it would have zombies, and then all of a sudden, bam, zombies! Like, well...
And I for one, never get tired of seeing zombies there.
It seems you can't go wrong with zombies. I'm almost worried that they're overdoing it. I mean, when you have comedy movies coming out about zombies, that's when you're like, well, zombies aren't scary anymore.
But they're better than vampires, I think, for sure.
Actually, a little funny fact, the original vampire myths are closer to the modern zombie. They were roaming corpses with elongated fangs that fed on people, and they would turn into revenants. They would turn into vampires, and it's not until Bram Stoker romanticized Dracula, and then that was the beginning of the end. After the romanticization of the vampire then we had Anne Rice, and then we have Twilight!
Well, now we're romanticizing zombies with warm bodies and stuff.
Rom-com comedy.
So it might turn out the same way, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But there you get a little bit of history in this movie talk, too.
A little bit of education for you. Hey!